Hello everybody, good evening, and welcome to another one of my video blogs. I'm Cosmic Claire, and I talk about things from a point of view that I think might be different from the mainstream. And I'm very grateful to the people who have been giving me kind of feedback on doing these videos, mostly through Facebook, and thank you very much. I actually ended up wanting to share something that somebody had sent me on Facebook, because I thought this is actually kind of realised what this is kind of what I'm doing this for. It says, I don't share my thoughts because I think it will change the minds of people who think differently. I share my thoughts to show the people who already think like me that they're not alone, and that's attributed to @Olabetiku. I presume that is a Twitter handle. But nonetheless, I do find people who don't agree with me are listening and are replying and feeding back, which is kind of very interesting and very rewarding, and I'd like to thank those people for hanging along for the ride. Even if, there must be something that kind of challenges them or tempts them along a little bit. But there's something that some people have been. I have to pick this one up again. I thought I kind of could leave this one alone, or at least behind for a while, which is this thing. A very dear old friend commented that something to the effect of we can't go back to some kind of pre-industrial idyll, and I'm really sorry if anybody's still thinking that I am a Luddite. I am not a Luddite. I think I'll put that on the title of tonight's video. I'm not a Luddite. Here I am. I'm using internet technology and a webcam and all this stuff. And no, I'm not a Luddite. I think technology is wonderful. I used to watch Tomorrow's World when I was a child, and it seemed to me that the world was full of a bright technological future, and then something went wrong in the late 70s and the early 80s, and there we have been ever since. And that's the point. It's not about the technology, it's about how it's used, and how it's used is dependent on people and their ethical attitudes. So that's why I did my follow-up video titled Heart of Darkness, after the magnificent book by Joseph Conrad, because it's about seeing human responsibility in all these things, and whether we can take this world into a better place, or whether it will continue going down into the pit that it seems to be going into. And my friend also said that all this technological stuff was inevitable. Well, some of it is, I think, yes, but we have to distinguish again distinguish between those things which people do just because they can do them, and the things that people do because they're good for people, because they're good for the world, because they cause relationships and people to thrive. And so, excuse me, that is the balance of technology. It's all decided by humans, and I'm sure that we can have a brilliant and wonderful technological future with a vibrant and harmonious planet. It's just that the way things are going at the moment are not likely to produce that result unless things get changed. And so we have to think about the direction science is going. Technology, well, science is just knowledge. And, if you think about some of the things that are being done in the name of science, shall we say, things like, fluoride in the water, people getting nervous neural damage from taking psychiatric drugs which are supposed to sort those things out and cure them, they just make things worse. And food additives, aspartame, and did I say geoengineering, what is commonly known to some as chemtrails, and the corrupt banking system which is all behind this, to accept the powerful elites doing this and just saying that it's inevitable is, to me, really, really copying the question, because that will lead to enslavement of the human race and eco-destruction of the planet. So even though it is a hard journey, as my correspondent said, like wading uphill through treacle, well, yes, but do we have any other option? It's like if a vandal came into your garden and started trashing all your beautiful fruit trees or plants or flowers, or smashing your windows in your house, or doing worse things, would you just say, well, that is the way of the world, what can you do about it? Or would you say, here, you, stop that and do what you could to stop it? That's what we have to do, and we might just be voices on the internet, and we might just have people not believing us or not taking any notice of us, but you have to do something. You have to do something. We cannot sit idly by and accept the madness that is being perpetrated on the world, inflicted on the world, the collective insanity. And I personally, I do believe that there is a structure to this, that the universe is the result of a conscious being, that therefore, since it's conscious, it has the understanding, the awareness of difference between choices, the difference between choices which cause pain, and the difference between choices which cause growth. And I think this is one giant living organism that we are all cells in, trying to find its way through a crisis that is, perhaps you could look at it and say that our world is suffering from a cancer and or a serious illness, and that cancer or serious illness is not just the physical material signs on the environment, the destruction that is caused by technology and machinery, but the madness that is in the zeitgeist that controls this, and that unfortunately too many people accept calmly and just say, well, this is the way that it is. But this is since this universe, this consciousness is all that is, I have a faith that it will see through this madness, and that we will have a change of consciousness. And when thinking back to this quotation that I started with about trying to change people's minds, but showing that people already think like this, that they're not alone. It's about the morphic resonance, the strength of the morphic resonance. A very small number of determined people who think very strongly and believe very strongly can change the mindset, and not through trying to persuade people or argue with people. I think that was amply demonstrated by the wonderful but ultimately unsuccessful Occupy movement last year, which isn't to say it was worthless by any means. I supported it here, but it was more like the white horses on the crest of a wave, showing that there was a much deeper underlying current, and that was just the breaking foam on the top of the wave, and the rest of the wave kind of crashes behind it. And I think we are in that crashing wave, following the kind of herald which the Occupy and the Arab Spring was a year or more back. So I do believe in the purposive nature of consciousness, of the universe. If you think about fractal theory and the way that structures repeat themselves, always the same but always different, this is one of the things that human culture and civilization is going through. We go through these periodic historical discontinuities where things reorganize themselves because they've got out of balance, and it has to be kind of seen plainly that at the level of systems functioning, this world has become seriously out of kilter. But there are people who still think that they can keep doing this, but it is such an imbalanced situation that nature, I think, really wants to create. Create a solution to, I should say. So this is so much more than blaming it on machinery. This is the evolutionary fulfillment of the human consciousness on this planet, you could say, or at least in its current form. This is the immediate problem that has to be dealt with, and the solution will be a profound change in awareness on this planet, because we will have got past and reintegrated integrated the solutions and the evolutionary adaptation to deal with this problem of the Great Deception and the parasitism that has been taken over, the world. But it's a natural evolutionary process, I believe, and it's part of universal consciousness. So it's not the kind of pointless and futile and shall we say unfulfilling view that might be put forward, but rather a great adventure to reintegrate consciousness from different angles and go forward. I think I'll just leave it there, folks. I think I'm rambling a little bit, but I hope you feel that there's some message in there that you can relate to, and it's rather late this evening, so I'll just wind it up there, say thank you and in Lakesh, because I thought this is actually kind of realised what this is kind of what I'm doing this for. It says, I don't share my thoughts because I think it will change the minds of people who think differently. I share my thoughts to show the people who already think like me that they're not alone. And that's the people who have been giving me kind of feedback on doing these videos, mostly through Facebook, and thank you very much. I actually ended up wanting to share something that somebody had sent me on Facebook. Hello everybody, good evening, and welcome to another one of my video blogs. I'm Cosmic Claire, and I talk about things from a point of view that I think might be different from the mainstream. And I'm very grateful to the listening and are replying and feeding back, which is kind of very interesting and very rewarding, and I'd like to thank those people for hanging along for the ride. Even if, you know, there must be something that kind of challenges them or tempts them along. Attributed to at Ola Betiku, I presume that is a Twitter handle. But nonetheless, I do find people who don't agree with me.